The city of Louisville, Kentucky, known for its bourbon distilleries and the iconic Kentucky Derby, found itself grappling with a series of horrific crimes that shook its very foundation. At the center of this storm was Brice Rhodes, a man whose name would forever be etched in the city's memory as a symbol of evil. His crimes, as brutal as they were senseless, left an enduring mark on the community, raising questions about the nature of evil and the fragility of life. Rhodes's reign of terror began in the spring of 2016, casting a long shadow over the city and its residents. His victims, young and innocent, became tragic symbols of the indiscriminate nature of violence. The brutality of the crimes and the seeming randomness of the victims sent shockwaves through the community, leaving people grappling with fear and a profound sense of vulnerability. As details of the crimes emerged, a sense of disbelief and horror swept through Louisville. The realization that such darkness could exist within their midst left many questioning the safety of their community. The first sign that something was terribly wrong emerged on a seemingly ordinary spring day. The discovery of a young man's body, discarded in an overgrown lot, sent a chill down the spines of seasoned investigators. The victim, later identified as 16-year-old Larry Ordway, had been brutally murdered, his life cut tragically short. The sheer brutality of the crime scene, marked by a raw violence that defied easy explanation, immediately suggested that this was no ordinary homicide. The investigation into Ordway's murder quickly became a top priority for the Louisville Metro Police Department. Detectives worked tirelessly, following every lead, determined to bring the perpetrator to justice. The city, meanwhile, held its breath, united in grief and fear as the details of the crime slowly emerged. The image of young Ordway, a life full of promise extinguished too soon, served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that can lurk in the shadows. Just when the initial shock of Ordway's murder began to subside, tragedy struck again, plunging the city further into the abyss of fear and despair. This time, the victim was 19-year-old Maurice Gordon, another young life brutally extinguished. The discovery of Gordon's body, bearing the same chilling hallmarks as the previous murder, confirmed the community's worst fears. They were dealing with a serial killer. The similarities between the two murders were too striking to ignore. Both victims were young men, both had been killed with a callous disregard for human life, and both bodies bore the signature of a brutality that spoke volumes about the killer's psyche. The realization that a predator was stalking the streets of their city sent a collective shiver down the spines of Louisville residents. Fear, palpable and consuming, permeated the city's atmosphere. The investigation into the murders of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon quickly became an all-consuming endeavor for the Louisville Metro Police Department. Detectives, working around the clock, followed every lead, however tenuous, determined to bring the perpetrator to justice. The weight of the case, the knowledge that a killer walked free, fueled their determination. They knew that each passing day could potentially bring another tragedy, another family torn apart by senseless violence. As the investigation progressed, a pattern began to emerge, a chilling connection between the victims and a local individual named Brice Rhodes. Witnesses placed Rhodes in the vicinity of both crime scenes around the time of the murders. This, coupled with Rhodes's history of violence and run-ins with the law, quickly made him the prime suspect in the investigation. As the investigation into Brice Rhodes deepened, a mountain of evidence began to accumulate, pointing unequivocally to his involvement in the murders of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon. Eyewitness accounts placed Rhodes at the scene of both crimes, their testimonies aligning with the timeline established by forensic evidence. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, forming a damning picture of Rhodes's guilt. Forensic analysis of the crime scenes yielded crucial evidence linking Rhodes to the murders. DNA evidence recovered from both locations matched samples taken from Rhodes. The scientific evidence, irrefutable and damning, corroborated the eyewitness accounts, solidifying the case against him. Perhaps the most chilling piece of evidence came in the form of a recorded conversation between Rhodes and his girlfriend. In this chilling exchange, obtained through a wiretap, Rhodes could be heard confessing to the murders, his words sending chills down the spines of seasoned investigators. The prosecution, now armed with a confession, believed they had an open and shut case. The trial of Brice Rhodes was a media spectacle, captivating the city of Louisville and beyond. The courtroom was packed with family members of the victims, journalists eager to document the proceedings, and members of the public, all seeking justice for the heinous crimes that had shaken their community. The prosecution, armed with a mountain of evidence, presented a compelling case, methodically laying out the details of the crimes and the overwhelming evidence linking Rhodes to the murders. Eyewitness testimonies, forensic evidence, and the chilling recorded confession painted a damning picture of Rhodes's guilt. The defense, facing an uphill battle, attempted to cast doubt on the prosecution's case, highlighting inconsistencies and questioning the reliability of certain witnesses. However, their efforts seemed futile against the sheer weight of the evidence presented. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury reached a verdict: guilty on all counts. The guilty verdict in the Brice Rhodes trial was met with a collective sigh of relief from the city of Louisville. Justice had been served, but it came at a heavy cost. The families of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon, forever marked by the loss of their loved ones, could finally begin to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. The verdict, while bringing a sense of closure, could never truly heal the wounds inflicted by Rhodes's heinous actions. For the community as a whole, the verdict brought a sense of relief, a sense that justice had prevailed, that the streets were a little safer with Brice Rhodes behind bars. However, the trial had also exposed the dark underbelly of their city, the realization that evil could lurk in the most unexpected places. The trial, while bringing closure to a dark chapter in Louisville's history, also served as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, of the need to address the root causes of violence and the importance of supporting victims and their families. The lessons learned from the Rhodes case would shape law enforcement strategies for years to come, informing policies and practices aimed at preventing future tragedies. Inside the mind of a killer, exploring potential motives. In the aftermath of the trial, as the city grappled with the enormity of Brice Rhodes's crimes, many were left wondering what could drive a person to commit such horrific acts. What demons lurked in the recesses of his mind? What darkness fueled his rage? Experts weighed in, offering their insights into the criminal mind, attempting to shed light on the motivations that could lead someone down such a dark path. Some pointed to Rhodes's troubled upbringing marked by abuse and neglect as a potential contributing factor. Others speculated that Rhodes's history of drug abuse may have played a role, altering his brain chemistry and exacerbating underlying mental health issues. Despite the various theories and speculations, the true motivations behind Brice Rhodes' crimes remain shrouded in mystery. The enduring impact scars that time cannot heal. The crimes of Brice Rhodes left an indelible mark on the city of Louisville, a wound that time may heal, but the scars will always remain. The families of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon, forever bound by their shared tragedy, continued to navigate life's journey carrying the heavy weight of their loss. Their grief, a constant companion, served as a poignant reminder of the human cost of violence, the ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate victims. The community too bore the weight of Rhodes's crimes. The sense of collective trauma, the shared experience of fear and uncertainty, lingered long after the verdict was delivered. The case served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life, the ever-present potential for darkness to erupt in even the most familiar of places. Lessons learned, strengthening the system, protecting the innocent. The chilling case of Brice Rhodes sent shockwaves through the criminal justice system, exposing vulnerabilities and highlighting the need for reform. The case underscored the importance of a robust and well-funded public defender system, ensuring that even those accused of the most heinous crimes receive adequate legal representation. The right to a fair trial, a cornerstone of the American justice system, hinges on the ability of the accused to mount a vigorous defense regardless of their financial means. The Rhodes case also brought to light the critical role of forensic science in securing justice. The ability to analyze DNA evidence, process crime scenes meticulously, and utilize cutting-edge technology proved instrumental in linking Rhodes to the murders. Conclusion: remembering the victims, seeking a safer tomorrow. The story of Brice Rhodes is a chilling reminder of the darkness that can reside in the human heart. It is a story of loss, of grief, of a community forever marked by the actions of one man. Yet it is also a story of resilience, of a community's determination to seek justice, to learn from tragedy, and to create a safer future for all. The memory of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon, their lives tragically cut short, serves as a powerful reminder of the human cost of violence and the urgent need to address its root causes. In the years since the Rhodes trial, the city of Louisville has taken significant strides in its efforts to combat crime and create a safer community. The progress made, while offering a glimmer of hope, is a testament to the ongoing work and dedication of countless individuals working tirelessly to build a safer, more just Louisville.